Hello, good afternoon. I'm in all kinds of time zones, so I'm hoping that it is afternoon where you guys are. Thank you so much for having me. So, as it was said, my name is Yanique DaCosta, and I am the president of the Graphic Artists Guild and the vice president of the International Council of Design. I am also the owner of a graphic design firm that's based in the United States. And as a Jamaican who migrated to America and moved back to Jamaica in 2022, I mean, I'm all over the place. God bless me. It's a pleasure to be able to come here and speak with you on something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is really how we build and form communities that can support us in our endeavors to grow and become greater, more powerful creatives. So, as the president of a member-based trade association, our association is committed to promoting and protecting the interests of creatives, just like you, whether you are a graphic designer, an illustrator, a website developer, or sometimes even a student gearing up to make their own mark on the creative industry. Today, I kind of want to dive into something that is really meant to resonate with all of us here, and it is the immense power of joining a group or a collective, um, and having it play a critical role when we talk about community building in our profession that completely shapes our just general professional journeys. And I don't know, let's start with kind of like why being a part of a collective is so transformative, right? So in the arts, creativity can, I don't know, bloom most abundantly when it's nurtured by collaboration and support, right? Everybody remembers when they had them parents, and foolishness, yeah, draw, put on that and go study your book. And it's like, some kind of weird battle between like, should I continue to express myself or should I focus on what is expected of me? It's an entirely different feeling when you step into a room of people who understand your need to create, who are willing to support you in this journey, who have had similar experiences to yours. And a collective can kind of act as a greenhouse for fostering growth through shared resources and collective wisdom and mutual support. You heard my colleague Delaney speak earlier, who she is the advocacy liaison for the Graphic Artists Guild. And she shared some of the resources that we have shared with our membership on a regular basis when we're talking about haveibeentrained.com. This is not an endorsement, but we share the resources. Like, what have we learned in this like quickly ever-changing world and environment about how our membership can protect themselves, right? I also dropped a link in the chat to Glaze, which is a platform that was developed by a professor at the University of Chicago. And he came and had a conversation with our membership and presented the product and showed our membership like how they can use that to protect their artwork that they're displaying online from training AI platforms. That kind of information and those kinds of resources, even though they are available to the general public, our membership knew about it first because we are together, we are united. We have this body of people that when people are developing these things and sharing information, they're running to us first because they're like, oh yeah, them know everybody. We're going to tell them because when we tell them, we're going to tell everybody and everything is going to be all right. So that's kind of like the first thing when we talk about just mutual support. Then imagine trying to advocate for better copyright laws or fair pay or just trying to change the narrative of what it means to be a creative in Jamaica. I'm going to pause there and let you guys absorb that because I know I have feelings about it, right? By yourself. I mean, right now I'm like super grateful, and I know I've shared this with the JAMCOPY team about some of the direction that I see happening within the government within the last few years when it comes to their emphasis on the arts and just creativity as a whole and allocating resources there when we're talking about just Jamaican intellectual property as a whole, but we still have like a ways to go. And those things can only be worked on if you are doing it as a group, right? Together we are mighty. So picture doing this with a group of committed artists or creatives, writers, painters, illustrators. I'm sorry, I can only talk from my perspective, right? Behind you. Like collectives amplify your voice, making it much harder for those that are in power to ignore you. So the strength of many allows or always outweighs the strength of one. Everybody wants to be by themselves. Yeah, me big and bad, and I'm the best, and I don't need anybody. Until you realize that your voice just is not as loud as if it was you and your brethren and in friend them and then in brethren friend them and all of them to come together. And I was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And it just creates a completely different environment when we as the Graphic Artists Guild, along with other creative collectives around the United States, walk into a senator's office and we're like, no, 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 no. No, this is what we do. This is how we do it, and this is how it affects us. It's an entirely different conversation. Can you imagine little old me going in there by myself? I've done that before. I mean, it works enough, right? Because they know that I have a whole group of people across America who support me. But when I come with John, Jacob, and Jill, and then they have their, it's just an entirely different feeling, and we're able to make a completely different kind of impact, not just with lawmakers, but also with corporations, right? Who may do things like take your artwork and use it and not give you the right kind of financial compensation. I'm not calling the names, I'm just saying it's a thing, right? And then there's also just like the hub to share knowledge. And I mentioned it earlier in terms of some of the links and resources that we're able to share amongst ourselves, and some of those things that are shared with us. But every artist faces unique challenges. But within a collective, there's likely someone who has already navigated similar obstacles, and access to this pool of knowledge can drastically cut down on your learning curve and help you to avoid common pitfalls. So this sharing of knowledge is facilitated through workshop, webinars, just everyday interactions, right? Like for us, we're able to get discounts to varying conferences around the country, globe, depending on who we're partnering with for all of our membership. So everybody else is paying 100%. Our membership is paying 60 because we were able to like bargain for the group. But again, that's just about us coming together and making sure that we're advocating for benefits and accessibility that are delivering real benefits to us to improve ourselves and just the overall industry for us. Then, of course, there are networking opportunities, right? Sometimes, and this one's a little weird, right? I don't know how many people actually got to do sleepovers because that wasn't a thing in my house. There was now got nobody. I can't go your cousin yard maybe, but this, right? But it's kind of similar where you get to go hang out at your friend's house for a while. Let's say we're adults now, we can do it, but we don't actually sleep there. We just stay till way too late. And you just start talking and deep diving and finding out about all the things. If you are having productive conversations that we're not talking about, Sally and our cousin and what them never do and what them be supposed to, but we're talking about how can we better ourselves when you leave that room. If you are willing to put together like an actionable list and have people hold you accountable for executing that list, the trajectory and the speed at which you can get from point A to point B is astronomical. Like I've seen it for myself, I've seen it for the people around me. I mean, I think I don't know, maybe 2018, where I was able to walk into a room and have a completely different conversation about how to negotiate my contract and the licensing of my work for t-shirts or swimsuits or anything in between, because I had already gotten information from a group of people who got it and understood it. So I didn't have to deal with oh yeah, we're going to pay you $500 and that's it. Oh no, honey, find a cliff and jump, because that is not what I am doing. What I am doing is I'm going to propose my one-time fee, and I'm now also going to propose my 3% licensing. And if you don't actually want to move forward with that, I understand what the legal ramifications are, and I don't even have to go to my lawyer right now. I can already just start reading based on the information that has been shared with me. When it's time to enforce this, of course, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call someone who specializes in the thing. But because of the information that has been shared with me within this group, this collective, these people who understand and have experience in it, I don't have to deal with the, all right, well, I guess you can give me 550 and that's okay. And then 2 years later, I find out to them make $2 million. How that going to work? That wouldn't work well for me, right? That's not to my benefit. Anyway, so a bigger part of being a part of a group is also opportunities that might be hard to come by on your own. Um, right now, and again, can only speak from my perspective. Right now, the Graphic Artists Guild is putting together what we call a speaker submission list. So we have our members submitting ideas and concepts that they want to share at varying conferences around the country. And we curate this list and we work with our partner conferences and share with them, hey, these are the members that we have. These are the topics that they are experts in. This is what they would like to share. Is this content you would like to include in your conference? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes. So people sometimes are having their first time speaking engagements, or being able to access communities or events for free because now they're being paid to speak, and they're getting access to all the days, and it's a completely different, again, experience. I know right now I've been invited to go to Taipei. I have never been to Taipei. Like, I've never been to Taiwan, right? And that's because I was a part of a collective that was like, oh, well, who are the people who know about this? And they were like, oh, these are the people. And they were like, oh, we need her. Bring her. Is she gonna come? Don't worry. Plane ticket, hotel, food, we got it. It's fine. Per diem, she's on her way. She's coming. Great. But again, I am not an individual. I am a part of a collective that supports me in that way and gives me access to that kind of networking ability. And then let's see. I know when I travel to different places, even, oh my gosh, even JAMCOPY, right? I live in Jamaica, right? But I don't leave my house often. I am horrible. I am locked up in the house, me and Portmore, and nobody can tell me that there's anything outside other than when I go to the beach and come home. Um, but I met the wonderful people at JAMCOPY through a conference that happened in Europe because of a different collective we were all a part of. And then here I am having this conversation and sharing information and building relationships that for me, I think will eventually be boundless. But again, there's a lot of things that connected us together outside of geographical location, right? So whether I'm between America and Jamaica or any other part of the world, depending on the calendar you can find me, I'm still a part of these collectives that help to weave this web and build relationships. So I think that's pretty much it. The journey of just being an artist just can't happen in isolation. Growth and belonging and aspiration are just not things that thrive in isolation. So when you think about like, how can I build? How can I grow? How can I thrive? Think about how you can lock hands with the person next to you who has similar aspirations, how you guys can help each other move forward. And I don't know, I think that's pretty much it. The broader concept of community in the arts is really just about thriving. I don't believe in the starving artist, sorry, not sorry. That's not my thing. I like nice things. I like to go out, like a little sippy sip, like that's me, but you can't, unless you're able to financially provide for yourself, those things can't be a reality. And so I don't believe in the whole stay at home, make your art, and never sell it or never figure out how to leverage dollars and cents. And I feel like the communities I have been a part of are what has taught me how to create a thriving practice for myself and for my staff and for my other colleagues around me. So, all of that to say, I'm probably rambling a bit at this point. I look forward to, if you are someone who works with clients or collectors in the United States, I look forward to you joining our thriving community or working with you in your local communities to build something that you guys can believe in and lock arms with and find pride in being a part of.
Yeah, nothing was good. Thank you so much, Yanique. That was very informative. There's definitely strength in community. in community. And not just making it your bread and butter, but maybe you can get some cheese and wine with it too, right? Any questions?
Or after Arlene, after Arlene. Arlene.
Okay, well, we take questions after Arlene McKenzie does her presentation.
Right.
Arlene is a tourism consultant and general manager of the Rastafari Indigenous Village Interactive Cultural Heritage Experience and convener of the Montego Bay Creative Arts Network, MCAN. Welcome, Arlene. Thank you so much.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you for the JAMCOPY for this opportunity to share. I'm listening. I'm so impressed, Yanique. Thanks for sharing all of that. And I heard some of the presentations earlier. I feel like from where we're sitting, we're looking up at a great big mountain. So my name is Arlene McKenzie, as you heard shared a moment ago. I'm not a painter, artist, dancer, anything, but I do consider myself a creative person. Somebody who has been working in tourism and particularly working in community tourism and working with the creatives. So I work predominantly for the past maybe 10 years or so with craft, with producers as well as traders. I'm a mother. I live in Montego Bay, by the way. And I got a call from Andrea at Kingston Creative, and she asked me, Arlene, come talk, because I know you're trying to do something in Montego Bay and are in the process of doing it. So I agree with everything that Yanique said about groups and strengthening and working together. But a little bit of background, I grew up in the UK. And my background in community work came and have been working in tourism since my return to Montego Bay. I came here with my young children and was so disappointed with the fact that Montego Bay really is a creative and cultural wasteland. There is nothing. If I say there are small enclaves of individual people doing wonderful things, doing amazing things. And when you look closer, you see that St. James, the Western region, we do really, really well at what's called a festival. So in the schools, the Jamaica, JCDC, which is Jamaica Development Commission, do a great, no, if I just said that, that's JBDC, Jamaica Cultural Development Body, do a great job in preparing the children for festivals, speech and dance and so on. But after that, if the artist or performing artist, visual artist does not move to Kingston, then they are on their own working out of their room in whichever place it is, and struggling to put something forward. I really became distressed a few years ago when I bucked up on a Musgrave medalist, Jamaica, nationally awarded medalist, was walking around the streets selling his products, and he had even offered to sell me his medal because he was a starving artist. He subsequently died as a starving artist, and we have a few that I've come across in the time. So my drive and my passion has been to gather not just the visual artists but creatives generally. I began by calling a meeting about just before COVID with another colleague who's in dance. And we sat down, we said, you know something, let's get together to do everything that Yanique spoke about, which was strengthen numbers, lobby, advocate, create a network. On a mission, basically, was to say, what are the issues and concerns of the people in the West who are artists, and what are the opportunities, and how can we take this to the step forward? How can we identify how to move this forward and to broaden the footprint, if you like, in the West? Now, Montego Bay, I don't know if any of you are aware, Montego Bay is the tourism mecca for the island of Jamaica. It is a gateway, and therefore there are many opportunities here. I can't tell you how many hotels are opening from Ocho Rios all the way down Negril into St. Elizabeth. There are opportunities for us to improve our cultural presence. However, what is happening is that we're finding a lot of art is coming in from overseas, from territories with very similar sort of cultural indigenous looks. A lot of the performers are also in the same way. A lot of our workmen, our contractors, our designers, our interiors, our spaces and our places that we have here are not, there needs to be some advocacy and there needs to be a lobby. So since 2019, we've been battling away with looking at where are the installations? Why can't we have any images? How do we identify ourselves when we step into this mecca of tourism? How do people understand that they've arrived in Jamaica when they come here? Because there are no statues, there are no images, there are no visual representations. How do we strengthen through training, strengthen through collective conversations, associate ourselves with JAMCOPY, because the power of partnership is what we've had to look to. Immediately, we set out trying to partner with Kingston Creative because we recognize the strength that they have in taking also Kingston, which was not particularly visual, not particularly on the forefront. In fact, the rural areas, if you were to talk about performing arts with Gary and Etu and John Kuno, that rural areas had greater strength. But it was like, we were bringing some little people from the country if we got perform. So there was no strength in terms of how economically wealthy, where's the wealth coming in back to the people? The hotels were paying peanuts, still are, to our local mento bands, to artists, to artisans. And a lot of our creatives have turned away from producing to purchasing, buying and selling, because again, we don't have the laws that protect products coming in from Indonesia with very similar raw materials, but who are making things. So I'm saying a lot of things as we go through. So as you can see, I'm up in years, and the challenge has been to create an intergenerational conversation for strengthening that collective, and for also looking at, because I know my background in tourism and has enabled me to walk into many areas that our average artists and artisans couldn't or don't know about. It's also introduced me to grants and to funding opportunities. Now I'm sitting with all that information and knowledge. I've used it with the Rastafari Indigenous Village, which was a creation. It's now 17 years old. We created that space for education, for sharing, for culture. And we created that space out of nothing, but just out of networks and out of partnerships. Where can we get some land? Where can we get people to help? Where can we all sit down as a community to be able to write to find the money out there? And it was international money, it wasn't local money. And how can we challenge the system through advocacy? Because as many of you may know, Rastafari is a cultural leader for the island, but yet still within the system, there isn't a support structure. So there's nothing that says we have to protect Maroon heritage, Rastafari heritage, Kumina heritage. There's the system is lacking in how it protects our survival, so that as we get, those of us who are in the old school get older, the younger people who are tuned into the technology, tuned into a cultural diversity that's way beyond anything that our original communities envisaged, we are having the challenge of how do we bring that young people into the conversation if there are no institutions I have to go back again to Yanique. There are no institutions in Jamaica, very few of them, dealing with art, except Edna Manley and the associations that are being formed by the older people. The younger people, unless it's the music, they're not coming together. I don't know of many coming together to really advocate and lobby for change. It's a very different social and political scene in the arts here and funding. It is almost as though the groups that are formed here have to look globally, internationally, into the universe for funding, rather than to say, listen, I'm going to go to government, to TEF, to Chase, to be able to take our concept, our dreams, our how we are going to retain this cultural identity forward. And I didn't want to make a presentation on challenges. I want to make a presentation on solutions. So in everything that we have identified where we have a lack, we have opportunities. But the opportunities require a driver, if you like, or a driving organization. And that driving organization needs to be funded, because I'm not independently wealthy, but yet still I'm out there sending emails, sending letters, trying to get people to the table. Who is not coming to the table are the power brokers. The hoteliers are not coming to the table because they don't want to know about you putting forward expensive art. In other words, our artists who would be sitting down for a week, 2 weeks to produce something is much more expensive than bringing in something that's a print from somewhere to put in a room to create an atmosphere and a vibe. So we're looking at how does a government, if you like, protect our local creative sector. Every hotel, all the rooms that we're talking about should be made to have a percentage of Jamaican creativity in it. All the performances should be made. There should be something in your coming to Jamaica to build a 900-room hotel. Well, a percentage of that needs to be our local creatives involved. When you're talking about a city, Montego Bay is a rural city, where is the statue that tells us the one statue in Sam Sharp Square, the one gallery? The schools are not bringing the children out. There's no parking. There's no effort. I mean, we have to look at how we, one, create policy, how we legislate, how we bring young people into the conversation. There's no arts training institution outside of Kingston. And yet still we have artists. I could give you a long list of artists who have originated in the West or out of Montego Bay itself, and who have had to struggle to be able to put their products somewhere. We shouldn't have to do that. We should be wealth creating. And so the only way to do it, as Yanique says, is to get together, pull and drag and push people into some sort of a collective situation where we can lobby and advocate and make a difference. The issue when you do that, of course, is that now you're a troublemaker. Mm-hmm. And now you're a target. And we live in the context of, I have been regarded, all those rooms that I used to be able to walk through when I worked for government is a case where, oh, here comes Arlene, she have a problem and she's going to be in trouble. We haven't created the environment within our leadership that listens, that collaborates, that says what we do is valuable, worth protecting, worth conserving, worth sustaining, because if we take it to the next level, where are the young Maroons? Where are the young Rastafari who are going to be sitting down and explaining to people what this is? Where are the young Kumina people We've practically lost Etu, Gary. Where are the Jankunum? How do we protect our creatives who represent cultural identity and strength? And these are the questions that on the ground, we are working with here outside of Kingston and Kingston creative efforts, which have been amazing. For my anchoring of myself, I go into Kingston. Every night there's something going on. Every day there's something going on. Here, when I have been told this by organizations, and I have seen this, when you come down and you do a craft fair, who comes? How do you get, there's no marketing dollar, there's no money, there's no roots within the community. So these are the values. It's almost like if you are going to be bringing call centers as the thing for our young people to be employed in, you channel them from school to the call center. Artists, the young artisans, the 1 and 2, if they're not creating to sell in this environment or creating to go to Kingston, to Edna Manley, what are they doing with their own self-expression? And we're finding that we have to look at our creative development, our artistic development as wellness for the mind, wellness for the body, wellness for the peace of our communities. Because if we do not give our young people the opportunity for creative expression, they will find it in things that we just don't want to. You're talking about AI and technology. I think we perhaps in the West, our young people are cued in technology because of the expanse of the call center and the contact center work. But there is no creativity that emanates from this. I believe there was an attempt for an animation direction here and to create call centers dealing with back end for animation. I don't think that has happened. But even then, we're just cookie cuttering as opposed to identity. I want to stop because I don't want to ramble. There are opportunities that we have, and this is why I continue to push through to create the spaces and places and mental wellness. However, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge because we're not in that global environment where we can draw on, but working as a network, because we're tuned into Kingston Creative, JAMCOPY, JBDC, JCDC, we're slowly filtering information through to our network. We're building a website. We are battling away, and hopefully we can gain the funding to be able to strengthen our organization so that we can feed the network that we are creating. I think that's it. Is that it? Is that it, Philippa?
Thank you so much, Arlene. Are there any questions?
Are there any questions?
Well, I think what we've gotten from both Arlene and Yanique is strength in numbers, strength in unity, and organized strength. So we're looking through any questions?
No questions.
Any questions from anyone here? Oh, we have a statement.
Yes. As a creative visual artist, I employ what Arlene has said and what Yanique has said. I loved your presentations. I have the same sentiment about the hotels that in Jamaica and how imported stuff being, decorating their room and these various properties. When we have so many creative artists in Jamaica, we have so many sculptures in Jamaica, and we are showing I've seen this firsthand for myself. Sometimes we have to look overseas to find other market to sell our wares. So I'm also need to apply JAMCOPY, Kingston Creative, Osmosis, because as you mentioned, the power of organization, we need to organize ourselves more as creative, and that's the way we can able to lobby and get some result that we're looking for. Thank you all, and thank you for this seminar, JAMCOPY. I think it's going to come at a better time, as we move forward and organize ourselves.
Thank you so much for your comments and encouragements.
It's Marcel Thompson. I used to work with the Neutral Life Art Gallery. And Pat Ramsey. We need people like Pat Ramsey again. Because when Pat Ramsey was at Neutral Life Gallery, all the artists then make money. Serious thing. Every one of them make money. And most of the buyers, they're under the ground. And the young people, they're not buying art. Jamaican art, they're buying like Prince and all. So we need, and a lot of galleries used to be in Kingston, right? And even all the film center, and a lot of galleries. It's only one we know right now is not really a gallery. It's like what do you call it? What do you call it? No, right. Near Oxford Road. Fremont. Yeah. Galleries values. We talk about values again. When you go to a gallery and I see the work, it's value at $30,000. They might get like $5,000 for it. And then when you sell it, $100,000. The artist going and say it's not gallery a sell and drop down. These things must stop. They undervalue the artists.
Thank you so much.
All right, let me add my little bit. I am no twins here. I must say thank you for your presentation, and I love the way how you come across, talk about all the artists them in Montego Bay. Reason for me expressing it in that way, I used to be a member of Western Jamaica Fine Arts Society, where a lot of us as artists, I'm from Montego region, and I have to go to Montego Bay for a meeting, where we have that meeting on Gloucester Avenue with people like Lisa Watt, Ted Robinson, Casper Robinson, and all those artists, and Arlene, that now he is deceased. And I must say thank you again for naming all those artists that not many people know them, call it island-wide. Give thanks to you, my dear ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And then there's Leonie on the.
My question was actually for Yanique. Yanique, love the presentation. Both Arlene and Yanique, actually. I love both of your presentation. But Yanique, question one, as a Jamaican graphic designer, could I be a part of,
The Graphic Artist
the
Guild.
Graphic Artist Guild? That's one. The other one is, yes, the other one is, how did you form the guild? Well, did you form the guild? I know you're the president. Did you form the guild? Do you know how you formed the guild?
That is a really amazing set of questions. Thank you so much for them. So the first one is we do have international members in the Graphic Artists Guild. The Graphic Artists Guild is a US-based organization, but we do have members who are global. And the members who decide to join the Graphic Artists Guild as international members typically are persons who work a lot with United States-based clients. And so they take that knowledge and apply it and understand how best to negotiate and so on and so forth. And the second thing is that sometimes they do take their own learnings and pair it with some things that they have going on in their respective countries and regions, and then amplify what it is that they're doing there. So the first question is yes. The second question is the guild was formed before I was born. This is the baby face. And it's 56 years in the making right now. So no, I did not form it, but I did form another nonprofit organization that recently partnered with the Edna Manley College to award some scholarships to varying students there. And that nonprofit is called the Alexander Kamal Scherer Foundation in honor of my little brother. And it was literally formed to put together funds to help persons who wanted to pursue formal education in the arts. So whether that's painting, music, dancing, writing, music composition, to pursue their dreams without a massive financial burden. So there are a few technicalities in it. I am not a lawyer. I just want to put that disclaimer up, but there are a couple of legal things that need to happen in terms of forming your board, identifying your mission, figuring out who you have around you who would rally behind your mission, who are the best fits. What kind of skill sets do you not have that you need in the people around you to help build this community and grow it and turn it into something amazing? So hopefully that answers your questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Leonia, you have your hand up. Okay. You can go ahead. Your mic is enabled. Perhaps she stepped away. Okay.
And then I'll say something. I just want to say, Arlene, thank you so much for coming home and looking around you and seeing how you could contribute, and really just want to commend you for that passion and that heart. And it is a travesty of justice that the JTB and other advertisements would put culture among the attractions of Jamaica, and yet there's this dearth of attention and investment. What a shame, what a shame. But I really wish for you well, and be that good trouble, and to find friends among the media as well, perhaps you already have, who can then talk the story, and to make that comparison. So much money and attention is being put on the things like as you say, what is it? Call center. And there's so many flaws and problems in there, and young people who I personally know are flipping from center to center because they're just not being treated well. And yet we have this innately in us, this creativity that the world appreciates. So I really, really wish you well, and hopefully out of today or other events, yes, to really get that support that you need, that political support that you need.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one thing. Yanique raised up the issue of the diaspora. I think that we have this conference, which is the diaspora conference happening in June. Perhaps we could lobby, perhaps the stronger organizations like JAMCOPY, Kingston Creative, could lobby to look at how we could build partnerships with the diaspora for the strengthening of the creative sector. on the island, because everywhere, we are everywhere globally with our culture and our art. And perhaps here's an opportunity for us to make some sort of a presentation and an appeal to use, Yanique said, bring the global people in who are doing well, you know.
Arlene, I'm glad you brought that. Number one, I'm already in your LinkedIn inbox for everyone to know. But I'm already attending that conference, and maybe we can pull something together and shoot a couple emails and be like, hey guys, we need space and room in this conference. So let's work on that.
I would love to, Yanique. Let's talk about it afterwards. If I think that's really positive action.